This brief PowerPoint video introduces us to the terms of black religion in America. Um, and it's important that we do understand each component term of this class, that is, the black part, the religion part, and the American part. So let us go on delve into what these terms are. What does it mean to be black, or who do we call black? At various and sundry points in our history, um, black people, that is, those of us who have a certain amount of melanin, were called African. Hence, because of the point of origin, somewhere on the African continent. And for a large part of that history, the term African was synonymous with those people, whether they were on the continent of Africa or part of the African diaspora, referred to as African. Now, obviously, for those of you who may hail from the continent or who may even be from the Caribbean, a lot of times the term black does not apply, because a lot of Africans say, "Well, no, I'm not black. I'm Nigerian, or I'm Ugandan, or I'm Ghanaian, or whatever the case may be." And the same holds true for a lot of those people of the diaspora who hail from the Caribbean or South America. They will claim Jamaican or Haitian, Bahamian, anything along those lines. But it's a matter of how do we tease out the term black. In America, yeah, we have also been called colored, especially in the United States. All right, a person or people of color. Does that mean this person is black? And for that matter, what is the extent of color? Are we talking about someone who is fair skinned, or are we talking about someone who is dark skinned? What does it mean to be colored or a person of color? And does color determine the blackness of someone? And then there's this term called Negro. Again, primarily in the United States, we have had this phrase of being called Negro. We graduated from being African, from people of color, to Negro. And it's interesting, even today in the country of Brazil, there's this concern, this debate about what it means to be black. As a matter of fact, on a lot of the government census forms, there's no distinction for someone who is black. So you don't, because black is such a pejorative term. No one really wants to claim that particular heritage. But again, African, colored, person of color, or Negro, and then African American. Again, primarily considering the people of the United States. Um, does that mean that only people of the United States are black, or what does that really mean? And then it may be about attitude, uh, style, the way we walk, the way we talk, certain cultural habits that seem to um, affect all people of the African diaspora. Is it about attitude that makes one black? Again, it's culture. Is it cultural? Those things we have learned through generations that we claim as our own, that no other particular quote unquote culture has. Is that what makes a person black? Is that what makes a people black? And for that matter, what is religion? What do we mean when we talk about religion? In the previous PowerPoint, I talked about the academic study of religion and what that meant. But a lot of times, is on a very basic level, we have certain ideas in mind when we talk about religion. A lot of it deals with a faith or a belief in some ultimate reality, be it God or whatever the case may be. It's an adherence to a set of sometimes creedal doctrinal statements to say this is what I believe about heaven or hell or church or mosque or whatever the case may be. These are things that I hold near and dear to my heart. Does is God a requirement for a particular thing to be called a religion? And by God, I do mean singular. Is a matter of having a singular, perhaps patriarchal, that is male God, that makes this thing a religion? Or do we not need God for it to be religion? Can it be some kind of other ultimate reality? And then there's the question of institutions. When we say religion, where do we practice this religion? Is it in a building? Is it part of some kind of connectional body? A be it a connectional body of churches or a connectional religion or whatever the case may be. Do we have to go and meet at certain times or in certain places in order for this thing that we practice for it to be called a religion? And of course, with institutions, you got institutional structures, you got people in charge, you got people who are following, you got administrative duties, you got uh, pastoral duties, and so on and so forth. But do we need these things in order for what we are doing to call it a religion? Or is it about just a community with no leaders, so to speak? Or is it just about having a body of people who believe in a common thing, whether it's about God or not, to say that what we're doing here is a religious practice, or what we're doing is engaged in religion? Is religion about awards and punishment, either awards or punishment now, or about awards or punishment later? As in good Christian terminology, is it about uh, going to heaven or hell? Or is it about making your own heaven right here on earth? What does religion have to do with these kinds of ideas? Or do we even need these kinds of ideas for something to be called religion? And for that matter, where is America? A lot of times when we say America, we have this place in mind. That is, we have North America in mind, Canada, United States, parts of Mexico. So is this the extent of America? Or can we also say that this is America? That is Central America and the Caribbean. These countries here, all of this, is this also America? Or do we only refer to America as that previous PowerPoint slide said? Or is this America? So when we're talking about America, is this what we have in mind? Or do we even give this consideration? Or do we even give consideration to the Caribbean and those areas of this part of the world? So as we're talking about black religion in America, I want us to have in the back of our mind these key terms. And I'm not trying to give a firm, definitive answer as to what we mean, but I want to introduce us to the possibilities of what it means to practice black religion in America. Because when it comes right down to it, and this is a quote from the Black Church in the African American Experience, but this can apply to any kind of religious experience by people who have certain kinds of commitment, so to speak. And a good way to understand the people is to study their religion. For religion is addressed to that most sacred schedule of value. And by sacred, what Lincoln and Mamiya means are those things that are of great value, that are held with great esteem and great importance to a valuation of who a people believe they are. Um, and this schedule of values tends to bring the people together in a certain way of being, a certain way of understanding themselves, and a certain way of living life. It creates a worldview. So when we're looking at black religion in America, we have to delve into this sacred schedule of values to try and get a sense of what it means to be black, what it means to be black and religious, and what it means to be black, religious, and doing it in America. However, we may define any of these three separate terms. So as we go along in this summer term, this C term, we're going to begin to unpack this, and we're going to keep that in the back of our mind as we go forward. But I want us to like I said, I just want to post this brief PowerPoint presentation to give us a sense of what we're talking about.